I told him he would never be the man I truly needed. He didn't argue. Instead, he smiled softly, gathered his belongings, and walked out of my life for good. My name is Rachel. I'm 30 years old. For nearly 5 years, I believed I understood love. His name was Mark. He wasn't the type to sweep me away with grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but he was steady, dependable, and thoughtful. When I worked late, he would appear with coffee in hand. If something around the apartment broke, he'd fix it before I even noticed. He never forgot my mother's birthday, and he would send her flowers without me having to remind him. Everyone around me used to say, "Rachel, he's one of the good ones. Don't let him slip away." And for a long time, I agreed. But over the years, something in me started to shift. The part of me that once fantasized about fiery romance and unstoppable passion began to stir again. That old voice whispered, "Is this all?" I started craving more. More excitement, more intensity, more spark. What Mark gave me was reliable, but reliability began to feel like settling. He hadn't done anything wrong. In fact, he did everything right. But it was always the same. Dinners at familiar restaurants, predictable Sunday walks, the nightly "I love you" in his calm, measured tone. I told myself this was maturity. This was what true love was supposed to look like. Yet, whenever I scrolled through social media and saw couples dancing barefoot in their kitchens at midnight, booking surprise trips, or living with that reckless joy, I couldn't help but wonder, why not us? Why not me? Mark was safe. And in the restless corners of my heart, safety started to feel like dullness. It all unraveled on an ordinary Tuesday evening. He came home, kissed me gently on the forehead, and asked how my day had been. For reasons I still don't fully understand, his voice that night sounded quieter, his smile smaller. We sat down to dinner, and he began sharing the details of his day. The same coworkers, the same meetings, the same stories I'd heard countless times before. My thoughts drifted elsewhere. Noticing my distance, he asked gently, "Are you okay?" And before I could stop myself, the words slipped out. "Mark, you'll never be the man I need." Silence filled the room. He set down his fork, studied me for a moment, and then offered a small smile. Not bitter, not mocking, but calm, almost as if he had been waiting for this. "All right," he said simply. He didn't ask what I meant. He didn't try to fight for me. He didn't explain himself. Instead, he stood up, walked into the bedroom, and pulled out his suitcase. Panic surged through me. I followed him, my chest tightening. "Mark, wait. I didn't mean it like that." But he kept folding his clothes neatly, sliding them into the suitcase with quiet precision. "Rachel," he said gently, "if I'm not the man you need, then I shouldn't take up your time. And you shouldn't waste mine." There was no anger in his tone, no resentment, only acceptance. That was the hardest part. I stood in the doorway, helpless, watching the man I'd shared my life with for half a decade calmly remove himself from it. No slamming drawers, no raised voices. Just the sound of hangers sliding free, zippers closing, and the wheels of his suitcase rolling softly across the floor. "Mark, please," I begged, my voice cracking. "I didn't mean it like that. I feel like something's missing, and I don't even know what it is." He paused, looked at me with the kindest eyes, and said, "I know what's missing for you, and I won't hold you captive while you go searching for it." When he was finished packing, he stood in front of me with his suitcase in hand. "You're a good woman, Rachel," he said quietly. "I hope you find the person who makes you feel the way you've been longing for. I just know it isn't me." He kissed my forehead one last time, just as he had done for years, and then walked past me toward the door. The sound of it closing behind him was soft, but final. For the first week, I convinced myself I'd made the right choice. I told myself I'd find someone who made my heart race again, someone who would sweep me off my feet. I even downloaded a dating app. But every chat felt hollow, every smile felt fleeting. And whenever something broke in the apartment, I caught myself wishing Mark was there. Not just to fix the faucet or tighten a shelf, but to fix me. I missed how he always remembered to ask about my mother. I missed the way he knew my coffee order without asking. I missed the security I had mistaken for monotony. About a month later, I found myself driving aimlessly one night. Without realizing where I was heading, I pulled up outside his new place. Through the window, I saw him at the table, laughing with friends. The light in his face was different, brighter, freer. That's when I understood. He hadn't walked away broken. He had walked away unburdened. In my own way, I had given him freedom, just as he had given it to me, the chance to find what we truly needed. I still replay that night in my head. I wonder how things might have turned out if I had swallowed those words, if I had chosen gratitude instead of restlessness. But regret doesn't change endings, it only makes them heavier. I told him he'd never be the man I needed. Maybe I was right. But what I failed to see was that sometimes the person you really need isn't the one who sets your soul ablaze for a fleeting moment. It's the one who keeps the fire alive quietly, faithfully, for a lifetime. Have you ever pushed away someone good for you because you thought excitement meant more than steadiness? Share your stories. I'd like to hear them. Maybe together we can learn the difference between love that's enduring and love that's gone. Mark never came back, and I never asked him to. Some doors, once closed, are meant to remain that way. But I still carry him with me, not as the man I let go, but as the man who showed me that love isn't about fireworks. It's about showing up, day after day, until the thought of life without them feels impossible. I only wish I had realized that before I told him otherwise.